an organization called Peace for Congo. And we realized that our organization then became the main attraction for Mukwege, so we could work with him as a non-Congolese at the time based organization to let the people of the world outside the Congo know what was going on. Because the main problem at the moment, and I still feel it is very much today, that people really don't know and they don't care of what is actually happening with your country. And obviously then I did an album of songs, and I have a couple of YouTube videos of what is going on in Congo. And I did some interviews as well with the Roger Coy, international BBC journalist, who now works in Belgium. So that's a very, very quick outline. Medically, I'm a pharmacist. I actually did my final exam in Cameroon. So I actually did my final exam in French as a pharmacist. But I'm also a musician, so I do a lot of charity concerts. So I've been a pharmacist for well over 30 years. I've worked in hospitals, bit of industry. And at the moment, I'm working in a small, very small pharmacy, just between Liverpool and Chester. And obviously we are right in the middle of the pandemic at the moment. Now, if it wasn't for COVID now, I would probably be in Congo because I was invited in February, but obviously that's not happening. I've taken part in 2 international peace conferences in Bura. So I started more talking about international peace and how the countries around all your surrounding countries should work together to help the Congolese produce a more international peace process. And I think what I'm trying to do at the moment, and it's taking a long time, but I think to be really effective, it needs to take a long time. I'm in the middle of making 2 very big articles, one of the situation here, and one, because the 2 are linked, of what is happening in Congo. Because what is happening in Congo at the moment is partly because of obviously what's happening here. We are responsible as a nation for a lot of the bad things that happen in Congo because of the way we support the supposedly Congolese people, in inverted commas, but also because of our pretty corrupt government at the moment that's here, that continues to support, officially support your country, but obviously not in the way that you want it to. So what I'm trying to do at the moment is to produce 2 very big articles. One is how the health service works here, which is pretty diabolical, as you all know. I mean, the National Health Service is fantastic. And what I know at one stage, Mukwege and I were working, saying what we need is a National Health Service like here in Congo, which would be amazing. So this is one thing that obviously outside his political and what he's doing, we want to try and see if we can get any sort of financial support, particularly for the children and the women, but also, as Mukwege said, get the men to take more responsibility for what they're doing and their actions. So that's one article I'm working on, and the other is the effective political issues in the Congo, and obviously with the virus at the moment in Congo. Now, we've heard on the news and internationally a lot of skepticism about the virus and about the vaccine. And yes, initially I wasn't going to have it. And as soon as they started talking about, well, you know, you might have to have it because of travel and all the rest of it, my colleagues weren't going to have it, some of them, but we have all had it. And I mean, obviously, I've read up about it. I've worked with industry and I've worked with people who've worked on projects like this. I can show you my vaccination card here with my name on it and the details of my vaccination to say I had it.
Well done, well done.
Yeah. I mean, I think like every vaccination, I mean, I initially thought, you know, this process has come very quickly. But when I look at the actual evidence, it hasn't. I mean, I think what a lot of people in the industry know is that vaccination research never stops. It's like research for drugs. It never stops. And so people probably over the last 5 years have been doing research into viruses. We have the SARS virus, we have a different flu vaccine every year. And not only that, flu vaccines has at least 4 different components in it. It's different this year from last year. And to be quite honest, the COVID vaccine is not very different. Now, in a lot, I work with 2, you should blame whatever you want to call yourselves, members of staff. In fact, they're both Indians. And they both had it. One had it very early on because he actually works in various GP surgeries. And my boss has had it too. So we have all had the vaccination. And we are all going to, in fact, I tried before I came here this morning to get the second one just around the corner from here, but they refused to give it to me because I wasn't on their list. So just in case I could have it early, but no, they wouldn't let me. But yes, I will, obviously I'll have the second vaccine, and then obviously traveling will be a lot easier. And now I have done tests, I will even show you. I have a box of tests that every member of staff I work with had. We were testing ourselves a couple of times a week, but there's no, to be quite honest, it's useless now because we may get false positives because we've had the vaccine, but it's completely useless. Wow. But yeah, so at the moment, the situation is, obviously, if anybody wants to ask any questions or any myths of it, it's not a live virus that people tend to want to spout out on Facebook. It doesn't contain human cells. I haven't got, you know, a magnet inside my body to say that, you know, I've had it or anything like that. It is just a normal vaccination. I had a sore arm for a couple of days, but I think that's because the nurse wasn't terribly careful because you've given so many already. But yes, it's just like any other vaccination. And I mean, a lot of people in the village that I work in, we've had a lot of deaths from COVID. They're all white people. They're not all over the 70s, 80s. We've had 30, 40-year-olds dying. But I think a lot of it, there is certain things that do cause more deaths, some of which are fairly obvious. Being overweight is one of them. And it does happen, you know, it's like anything. Just about, you know, your likelihood of a heart attack is greater if you're obese. That's a normal health thing. People and smokers, obviously, a higher risk. Asthmatics at higher risk, but these are all categories that are high risk anyway. So that is why it's very important, especially for these people, to get vaccinated.
Thank you. I think you're going to have some question. I'm sorry to interrupt you there because I know there's so many things. We would like to hear from you, and the people have to get more clarity with some small questions.
No problem.
Tokotuna mituna ata na lingala soki toyoka ki makambo alobaki na asibiso nyonso toyoka ka mwa anglais malamu. Soki mutu ana besoin ya koyoka mwa clarté okoki ko se manifester pour to éclaircir mais nayebi ke toyoki. Mutu moko alingi to éclaircir na briefing eloko alobi.
Yeah, éclaircir papa.
Okay. Alobi ye azali moko ya ndeko alinga Congo mingi, azana mawa mingi na makambeleka na Congo. Banda presque 10 ans akutana na ngai, akutana pena bande kumususu ya communauté, esala ye vraiment pasi pona makambo ya Congo, atelemela yango mingi. Akenda tina Congo, akutana Dr. Mukwege awa, après azwa ba contact na ya akenda tina Congo na hôpital ya Panzi. A remarqué que ba Congolais bazo souffrir mingi ezali parce que politique ya bango awa ya bande kuna bango ndezo sala ete na Congo ezo bongate ba Congolais bazo continuer ko souffrir. Maintenant makambo etali vaccin alobi yazwa ki déjà vaccin aza pe na carton na ye wana oyo azo sala ka test ya nyonso. Bon swalingaki atanga na ye pe asale aza pharmaciste et a travailler mingi na misala wana ya makambo etali santé. Et aza disposé ya koyebisa biso ndenge nini importance ya vaccin ezali. Mais bato baza exposé mingi na danger na ba maladie, bato bamela ba cigarette, bato baza na ba asthmatique na ba maladie misusu ya mike, bato wana baza danger vraiment na maladie oyo. Alors eza bien vraiment kozwa vaccin na lumbangu penza mpona santé na biso na bato nyonso. Alors soki moto wana mutuna tokotuna ye po heure na ye kosila na 15 heures, tokoyamba lisusu docteur moko mpe tokoyamba mpe ndeko mosusu ya droit de l'homme. Tobandina Magali après Maman Marie-Jeanne.
Hi Viviane. My question is, I don't know if you can clarify this one for my community. Basically, all the Black people, I can say in majority, they are all scared to get the vaccination. Do you think the government have the duty to do something to change their thought toward it? Because there's nothing else. I don't know. All the news my community, they're all getting from the internet, from their phone, is all negative about the vaccinations. So, and about you people, you keep on assuring us that the vaccination is good for us to protect us toward this virus. I know it's good, but do you think the government have the duty? They own us something. They can, I don't know, they can do something so that they can earn our trust, because we don't have trust toward the government. So you think the government can do something? Because even if you keep on going on and on, the vaccination is good, it's good, it's good. But there's nothing my community, I mean like Black people want, because we all scared. We all know that there's nothing at the end of that tunnel. So even if you say that you already had it, I don't think so at the end of this meeting it's going to change anything toward their mindset, because they already have their mindset already is in place 100%. So the government owns something, basically. They have to do something so that they can gain our trust. That's all I wanted you, if you can clarify for my community, because as far as I'm concerned, you can say anything you want, even if it's the news or whatever about the vaccination. But as long as you don't gain our trust, it's not going to change our mindset. Thank you. Yeah.
No problem. I think the biggest problem is why. What is the issue? I think the question is very simple. What is it you are afraid of about the vaccination? How we can help you get over this fear. What is it you are worried about? I think that's the main, and then we can, if we know what you are worried about, then we can inform you rather than listening to the rubbish on the internet and all the lies, and they are lies. But as I say, it's easy. And I think this is a general point of view. It's not just about this, it's about a lot of other things. We as a nation, white people, are very arrogant. I talk to a lot of doctors every day in Congo, in Rwanda, in Burundi, and they're all telling me that they haven't got a problem with the virus in Congo, because you are using your natural medications. Now the WHO won't verify them because they say there's no research into them, which is true, but your figures speak for themselves. And I think what we have to do as a group of people, and I'm talking about as white middle class people, what we have to do is listen to your fears and actually also educate ourselves with your way of thinking and say, you know, you have so much to offer us, and yet we are arrogant in not taking what you guys say seriously. And it's not just that, it's about water aid, it's about all sorts of other aid, and it's a very big problem. It's a barrier between, as you say, us and you guys, and we have to listen and we have to understand your fears, and we have to rationalize your fears into a way that it will give you confidence. And obviously this is a question that only you can answer, how you can gain my confidence, and I can gain your confidence, and by saying, what is it that you need to know that persuades you to have that? Why are you scared, basically, at the end of the day?
I don't know. President, can I answer?
Yeah,
Of
you
course,
can go.
yeah.
Kende na
I
watu.
think what's happening in my community is like because we have language barrier
Yeah.
for most of our over 60 age.
Yeah.
And then they are finding it quite hard to understand anything from what the government are saying. I know it's true what you're saying, but our 50 plus, because of they are listening from outside, more than what inside the government are saying. So that's why it's causing a lot of confusion towards the vaccination. So I don't know if the government can just do something toward those 55 plus, or even they can get help from their GP to send them the letter written with more information, even from people who speak French. They can translate all the information to the French one or Lingala, so that they understand what basically is they are getting from the vaccination. If not, still, there's nothing at the end of this tunnel.
I think probably I have a document here, a 14-page document here in English about the facts of COVID. Now, what I need to do for you guys is to try translate this into French and maybe go through it in French.
Yeah.
To say it's 14 pages documents about the virus and about the vaccine and what it has and what it doesn't have in it. And I think the problem is, as you say, a lot of it, and this is, I think one of probably the main problem is a language barrier. And it's all very well for David Lammy to say, I've had the vaccination. But, you know, as you say, the language barrier, he will not be able to translate properly, as far as you're concerned, why he's had the vaccine. I mean, I know it's safe for you to have it. It's safe for me to have it. It's safe for you to have it. But it's easy for me as a white person. What we have to do, we have to, I think also it's hard because a lot of you maybe have been here several years, and it's difficult for you now to take on the language situation. So I think what we have to do as a nation, and I think there's people saying, oh, well, why should we? Because you're here. And if you're part of our community, and you are a part, and it's unfortunately, I think since Brexit myself, things have got very much worse from that point of view with communication, because I mean, I'm not scared to say, I think Brexit is the worst thing that's ever happened in this country, and I think it's made things a lot worse for you people, in fact, one of my, I think it's Roger Coy that told me that actually, Viv, you're not English, you're Belgian. So I could potentially have a European passport, but that's another question. But the thing is that I think there's a lot that can be said. I think that we can do, and I'm happy to talk to you people again, if it would help, and spend some time translating this document into French, because I can do that. And then I can basically read to you what this document says in French, and go through the problems and maybe the misinformation that you guys have been given on the internet. I know there's rubbish written every day on the internet about everything, and I think this is one of the most serious things that, yes, is happening. But unfortunately, people like Facebook are extremely powerful, and that if you shut something down today, it'll come up in another way tomorrow. And I think that's what the government has a problem with. But yes.
Thank you. Let's move on.
Yeah.
I think mutuna oyo ya ndeko Magali na ndeko na biso ezaki interesa makasi. Magali amegai kutuna na makambo etali confidence na biso na trust ndenge tokopesa confiance na makambo bango bazoloba ya vaccin. Alors mama ndenge Magali atuni alobi problème toza nango ezali ke na communauté na biso ezali ko facilité. Gouvernement azo sala makasi te pona ko convaincre biso. Et puis bozo biso ka vaccin yo lobi ozwa vaccin mais biso ebelawa ata poto ndima yango ezana musala makasi. Namonaki docteur Martin Asayaki, mais peut-être à quel sous peut-être pour na air na ezo ko kada 6 minutes. Mais tokotuna mutuna mususu ezali ya lobi ana document moko ezawana ya 40 pages ou ya ko traduire pe pona ko sunga biso. Alors tozala moi bref nsoy mutwana mutuna vraiment tous à la moi bref. OK, tous ok nembala mo na Paul mbangu comme ça toke dans Douglas. Paul osana parole. Osana mute Paul. Longola mute, yes.
Hello, Viviane.
Hi.
My name is Paul Teti. We know that very well. UK government is among the country that involving of Congolese people suffering. So what can we do to stop this involving of your country to stop our suffering? What can we do?
Well, as it's really hard because at the moment, I mean, I've said on several occasions, and I've supported you on front lines, on picket lines, as Okita will tell you. I think what you need to do is, as I say, I'm in the middle of writing a big document, which I'm hoping to expose the British government into what they've been doing. And in fact, this weekend, I'm going to spend some more time on it, because what I want to do is to send in basically, because I'm sure you guys are aware that the UK government gives the Congolese government £1 million a day. And I think if the British people realize that, they would be pretty frustrated. And if you took that £1 million a day away from the Congo, I don't think anything would happen. In fact, things might get better because they wouldn't have the money to buy arms with. I mean, we have been exposed in the past, and we will continue to be exposed. And all we get from the government is be careful who we send our money to, which we know is absolutely load of rubbish. But I think what we need to do is we need to get the situation about what is happening, because we know that we have a media that is supposed to be non-partial, which is not non-partial. We know that very well. And to be quite honest, I've stopped more than often listening to the 6 o'clock news, but I'm tending to listen to Channel 4 news, because all we're getting on BBC News is about COVID at the moment, which, yes, is extremely important. And Boris Johnson is carrying to say he's going to open up this and open up that. But I know, and you know, that if we open up everything on March the 8th, then this virus is going to come back again, and he's going to have to lock us all down again. And what you got to say is, okay, we still got a lot of people in our hospital ITU beds. In Liverpool, it's bad, and all over the country, it's bad. And all we're getting is a very, very self-centered media. And we have got to change the media. And unfortunately, and it is, I have always said, we have to work together. That means people like myself working with you. As I said, I made one statement a long time ago on I think it was outside the Houses of Parliament with you guys, that the Congolese cannot solve their political problem on their own. You need to invite people like myself in to help you make a point. And you need to make that point, not in Lingala, but you have to, unfortunately, you have to make it in English, because that's where the powerhouse with America in particular is. We're less of a powerhouse than we were. And unfortunately, you have to be more verbal, but not in French and Lingala, but you have to be more verbal in English. And I'm very happy to help you guys work on that. As I've said to the Liverpool people in Liverpool and everywhere. And as I say, you have to get your message out. And I have done it with 2 of the songs I've done on YouTube. But as I say, we need to have to get the message out. I've done interviews on YouTube. I've done a lot. But as I say, but they have been in English, because that's where, as I say, people like yourselves, we have to work together on this.
Thank you. Yeah, Viviane, that was a very good question. I think we got 2 minutes left for Viviane. We got another guest coming up, but I think we're going to give time to Douglas. Please, can you be short with your question, and then you're going to have time to Viviane to respond to that. We're going to pass it the time.
Yeah, I do my best to be brief. Hi, Viviane. My name is Douglas Bokassa. I exactly have 2 questions, basically. The first one is regarding COVID-19. I've heard, especially through news, Boris Johnson briefing in Secretary of Health, who had said, that we probably will be in everyone have to get job if you're, because they're not sure that once one get the vaccine, regarding if you compare to all the vaccine, as you said, it has at least for years, 10 years or even more, without him to get again ill or sick, but it's not the case with COVID-19, as I heard through news that we could be in
it's gone off.
He's got a good question. I don't know if you understand the question. He said he's got double question about just the first one.
Yeah.
Paul, it's not time now. We're gonna move on, Paul.
Afanda place moko be kona yezo sa zongela biso na matoi. Fa afanda place moko pona connection. Eko yezo zongela biso.
Yeah, azana problem Douglas. Donc, I think we got a problem. I don't know. Did you hear the question?
I didn't hear the question properly.
No, it was difficult to get a question. I think he was talking about what was in a government issue. He was mentioning about the time and that you could have the vaccine and how long it's going to last. But is that 1 year or are you going to have it for 10 years?
I think probably what will happen is the COVID vaccine will be put into the yearly flu vaccine. I think that's probably what will end up happening.
So the
COVID vaccine will be like what is very clear is that this virus changes just like the flu vaccine changes. Okay. So they will probably change the COVID vaccine every year, just like they do the flu vaccine. So I think they'll probably, in the long term, be sorting out one vaccine that will be flu and COVID together. That's my prediction in the future, anyway.
Thank you so much, and we got a very good time to have you. It was extremely good. I think if people got questions, if you still have a time to stay with us, we'll be more than happy to have you again and to ask you a few more questions.
No problem.
We got two other guests already here. I think it's much better to introduce them and they're all going to speak as well. We got two guests and very glad that Viviane has started with us and it was a very good to have you on board. Tozana ba de invité na biso mususu bazali awa deja. I think Dr. Martin, are you there, Doctor? Dr. Martin?
Yes, I am. I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay, we can see you, Doctor. Thank you for coming, doctors.
It is my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll introduce you in a second. I think we have Paulina as well. Paulina from UK Citizen. Are you there, Paulina?
I am. Hi, thank you, Kito.
Oh, that's glad to have you as well, Paulina. Thank you so much for your presence this afternoon. It was glad that you people have responded to the invitation to have you. Now, I'm just going to start with a few minutes.